Hey guys, Mike here. So we're going to have an interesting week in the market for sure because we will have a short week, Monday through Thursday, closed on Friday in observation of Easter. And so short weeks tend to not be as busy as far as volume, things of that nature. But we'll see how it works out. Plus, we'll go through the charts and stuff, but we've had just a boatload of news come out and stuff that are definitely going to affect stocks for sure, or affect the economy and the market for sure. We just got to see how they're going to digest them, right? Because we had this big run up. And this is what I was talking about, picture being worth 1,000 words here. This is the top 10 NASDAQ 100 stocks in 2023, and you can see they account for 88% of the gains in 2023. And if you want to get a microscope and look at the other 90 right there, feel free. You can see down there they account for a whopping 12% of what's been happening. And that's why it's really hard to tell when you only have 10 stocks that are accounting for 88% of the gains actually happening underneath the hood there. So if you want to take a look at that, you look at all the tickers and everything else. Now, you can see layoffs continue. Disney, you're going to have ABC, Spotify, Salem Media, and all these others. They're going to start laying off people too. So again, the layoffs will continue. But again, these are big companies right here, not the smaller companies that have 500 or less employees and stuff. And so it's still, companies are just trying to cut costs, doing the best they can to improve margins on that end. And obviously, going into more news that came out this weekend, Tesla crushed their deliveries again, 422,875 for the first quarter of 2023. We can see total deliveries Q1 2023. You can see the number I just told you, total production, a little bit more than that at 440,000. And you can see this is a 36% increase in deliveries compared to the 310,000 reported during the same period a year earlier, and 4% growth in deliveries compared to the quarter before as well. So how does it affect Tesla? We'll have to see. We know it busted above that trend line. As we can see, it is approaching that 210 level, which has always been somewhat of a brick wall for it, especially 210 to 220. And so we'll have to see how that's going to work out. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, look at this. This is a cup and handle, which can be bullish when it plays out. But again, if you see right there is a cup, there's the handle. Oh, look, it's playing out. If you go over to the left right there, you can see a much bigger cup and handle that did not play out. So they don't always play out, but it is bullish if it actually does. Now, the news coming out of the IRS, which I'm not sure how it's going to affect Tesla. So those who are EV aficionados or whatever, maybe you can help us out on this. And it says, the IRS requires 50% of the value of the battery components to be produced or assembled in North America to qualify for the $3,750 credit, and 40% of the value of critical minerals sourced from the United States for a free trade partner, also for the $3,750 credit. So let us know in the comments. Obviously, I saw something from Elon Musk about that, and just how many of those vehicles are actually going to qualify for the tax credit and stuff. So just curious about that one, or if any of them are, for that matter. Now, another one hitting the press this weekend was the TikTok ban. Obviously, you've seen government agencies ban this, but there's obviously a big bill coming through, and people are freaking out saying, well, it's First Amendment. If you do this, then you can do that and all this other stuff. But, of course, if this happens, and of course, also they're talking about making TikTok sell to an American company or whatever. Of course, who's the biggest beneficiary right now? It's been Meta, right? I think right there in that area is where they started talking about the TikTok ban. And of course, that helped push this one up even more. This is a weekly chart, so you can check this out. But again, you got that huge gap above, which is about 17% away from now. So if that bill picked up and TikTok actually got banned or had to sell to an American company, you can imagine who's going to try to buy them. That's going to push Meta up even more. But you can see it's approaching on the weekly, overbought. Looks like the MACD wants to roll over. But we'll see how this whole TikTok thing plays out. Now, something else was all these oil cuts, right? Today you saw OPEC announces surprising oil cuts. And now you can see total OPEC plus cut pledges now stand at 3.66 million barrels per day. Oil could jump as much as $10 a barrel, they're thinking right now, which obviously would not be good for inflation or anything else. And you can see right here, if you want to read that's Saudi Arabia and other OPEC plus oil producers on Sunday announced further oil cuts at around 1.16 million barrels per day. And a surprise move the analysts said would cause an immediate rise in the prices of the United States. And here's an oil chart, and you can see that trend line, which we're going to talk about, which goes way back, got a perfect bounce down to the penny off of it. Again, is it going to come up and reject right here and come back down that trend line? And we'll see. But this trend line goes way back, as you can see, and been very, very well respected. And if we just scroll back, you can see all the bounces when it was support, all the rejections, when it was not support, obviously, when it was resistance. But you keep scrolling back, that's down there in 08 when it bottomed out. Here you got the dot-com bubble when it bottomed out. It goes all the way back to 1998. And so very well respected trend line. We'll see what oil does with this. Obviously, I don't think cuts are going to help, that's for sure. Every time you think oil is going to just fall off a cliff, something else comes up, and usually some kind of cut, because they want to keep these prices as high as they possibly can and keep us over a barrel, not to be making light of it. And then, of course, that leads me to XLE, because this right here, the trend line goes back to September 2020, and you can see it's been a big support for it, and it broke through, and you thought, this is it. Finally going to break down, because when XLE breaks down from these trend lines, once they start moving up, it's usually a big drop, but of course now it is above, and so now that is acting as support again. And if you get anything out of this, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And if you're new, think about subscribing. If you like this content, I really appreciate your support. And of course, it's no coincidence, because now oil seems to be somewhat finding a footing or rebound. Let me know in the comments what you think oil is going to do. Is it going to go back up? Or we're going to actually see, $80 a barrel again, $90 a barrel again, which is not good. But I mean, you can just see these conglomerates, whatever you want to call them out there, they want to keep oil prices high as long as they can, right? That's just the way it's going to be, no matter what you do. And you keep hearing that from Chevron, all the oil companies right here in America saying, we're good on production, right? Because they're enjoying buying back all the stock and giving the bonuses and paying out the dividends and all that good stuff. Why not? They have no incentive to do anything else, right? And so, we'll see what happens to the gas pumps and everything else. We'll see what happens to diesel, more importantly. That's the one you really want to look at, because obviously that transports all our goods around the country and the world. So that's the big one. Now, going into the charts on the S&P, something to pay close attention to is this right here. Obviously, the MACD is crossing that zero line, right? Just crossed it. And let's look at the last few times this has happened. That don't mean you're going up like the moon, right? Like here, it sold off around 3 to 4 days. Decent pullback, right? Here's another time right here in November. You saw a 3 or 4 day pullback right here. And so that's something to pay attention to. And then if we move over to here, you can see the exact same thing. You get about a 3 to 4 day pullback. Nothing major. But again, it's almost perfect, right? Because what are we going to? A 4-day week. Normally it's lower volume, all that fun stuff. And we've had this big move up. It's going to a lot of resistance right there, trying to break that 411.50 area. And so it'd be a perfect excuse to go and have 3 or 4 days of just nothing going on and a slight pullback. And you can see the RSIs in each instance is about where it is now. And so it actually makes a little sense to get a little bit of a pullback. We'll see. And, looking at the options market, this will change every day. But just look at the call part of it. I mean, there's just, like, we're already up to 409, 410 area now. And you see after 411, it just drops off, right? Where's all the options at? Look at all these puts. I mean, people actually thought the stock market was going down to 369 and stuff. And so that's a lot of puts versus calls. So again, I see less resistance going up than coming down. And when you pull out to what would be Thursday, acting as Friday because it's a short work week, all of a sudden you see more call options pop up. And so now people are getting a little more bullish, right? But again, we're already past those. Looking around 414, 424, nothing really past that. Again, nice set of calls, nice set of puts over here on the put side. But that's where that stands right there. It's what to see how the market's going to play out this week on this one. And something else to look at really is the weekly move, right? And I give this to the members and stuff, and as well as daily moves. But you're looking between 403 and 415.65 is what the options market is pricing in this week. And so pay close attention to that. Now, another stock which I was talking to a member about was Microsoft. When we click on this right here, you can see Microsoft. It is at a huge, huge level, big supply level. It's also got this trend line right here, which is rejected off 3 times. Will this be the fourth? We'll have to see. You can see it's going into overbought territory on the RSI. The MACD looks like it's about to roll over, and this is just another one of those stocks. Holds a big weight in the S&P and the Qs, right? Which, of course, tech's been on a roll. Microsoft is one of them. Apple's another one coming up. Looking forward to get to that 167 area and see what it's going to do. Is it going to be able to push through or pull back a little bit before that happens? And so pay close attention to that. Again, that'll dictate markets, as you can see, with those 10 stocks that make up 88% of the gains, right? And so economic news, we actually do have, even though it's a short week, a ton of economic news, right, coming out. And I think this news obviously will start getting a lot more attention now that we're sitting there on watch for the recession of the century, because everybody seems to know about it. But you're going to have a lot of manufacturing and construction data coming out tomorrow, and so that's something to pay attention to, because again, has this stuff bottomed and now we finally started to flatten out and move up? Could very well be the case. We're going to have to see, right? A lot of jobs data this week. You got your JOLTS job cuts, JOLTS job openings, and so looking at that, that's going to be something people are paying attention to. Everything about the mortgage industry, which the stocks have been holding up pretty decent, believe it or not. ADP employment change, that's another thing people are going to be looking for, see what the Fed's going to be doing. Not in April, but May, remember that. Then you're going to have the non-manufacturing data coming out, and so pay attention to that right there. And then we're going to be looking at, of course, the big stuff, the initial jobless claims, continuous jobless claims, and then we're going to come down to what everybody's going to be paying attention to, and it's going to be unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, all that fun stuff like that, right? That's the kind of stuff that actually will shift markets. And so the thing to pay attention to this is the actual data, but let's pay attention to how the market reacts to the data, right? It is bad news for the economy, still good news for the stock market, because it's going to force the Fed to pause sooner and pivot sooner, which of course they're projecting in June, July, cuts and stuff, and the rates is actually eventually you got to hit bad news for the economy is bad news for the market as well. So that's what you got to pay attention to, especially the manufacturing stuff, to see if that has bottom or does it actually get worse, right? And so because the layoffs you're hearing about are all tech type layoffs, things like that. But again, the hardest part about the industrial part is what is our economy based off of? 70% services, right? And so we'll see how the market reacts. Plus, we get to see how the Fed reacts. But again, not having a meeting all the way till May, that's a long time for the market to do whatever it wants to do, right? It's set up perfectly to do a nice cool off this week if it wants to. Before it continues to move up, it will make sense to me. But again, let me know in the comments what you think. I'm just looking at the bigger stocks, which of course make up 88% of the gains this year, and what they're doing, because as you can see, the other 90 in the NASDAQ 100 don't seem to matter much, right? You got 90 stocks and they make up 12% of the gains. So that's nothing. And so anyway, hitting the like, subscribe button if you got anything out of it. I'll keep you guys updated what's going on tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think about the TikTok ban. I mean, what's your opinion? You think that's infringing on the First Amendment? You think it should do it for national security reasons? I got my opinion, but I always like to hear yours. So end up seeing you guys tomorrow.